That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin. The fourth film directed by William Eubank and the seventh film in the Paranormal Activity franchise series.
Movie Picture Show.
Paramount Plus is releasing it just in time for Halloween on October 29th, 2021. And notably, I guess it's been several years since the last Paranormal Activity movie, which I think was in 2015 with Ghost Dimension, which we've seen because I have it on a spreadsheet, but I don't remember a lick of it. This is kind of a return.
Is that the one where it's like in East LA?
I think that's the marked ones.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I don't recall that either.
So this is a return to the fold for Christopher Landon. You might know him better as the director of the Happy Death Day films. Or
is he the son of Michael Landon?
He is.
Oh.
I believe he's gay. And also Freaky, he directed. But
with
Vince Vaughn.
That's right.
He also wrote Paranormal Activities 2, 3, 4, and the marked ones, number 5, which he directed. So it's a return to the fold for him, which I find interesting because this doesn't feel like there's much paranormal activity going on.
What's the director's name?
That's the writer. The director is William Eubank.
The writer.
William Eubank, we reviewed his Kristen Stewart thriller Underwater.
I really wanted to like that movie. And it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I like her, strangely, and I think she's fine in it. And he also directed a film that I think is worth checking out called The Signal back in 2014. This feels very much like what you'd expect.
I didn't like it. I didn't like this movie. The basic story revolves around a lady named Margot. Mm-hmm. She's like in her late 20s. We find out she's adopted. She actually has surveillance footage from the hospital of her mother dropping her off, which there's a name for that. Because in every state, you can, like, a parent can drop off a child up to a certain age.
Abandonment?
I think that's the...
Is it abandonment?
But there are certain places where it's, like, safe to do that. Like hospitals, firehouses.
Yeah, we used to live by a firehouse that had the signs.
Yeah. And I think in Wisconsin, the age to do that is quite high.
As it should be.
You could give your kid back at, like, 17. I don't know.
Take them.
But, so she does one of those, like, Ancestry and Me or 23andMe type services and gets linked up with a relative. So she has this idea that she wants to meet this relative and maybe get more information about her biological family. And of course, to fit into the Paranormal Activity universe, this bitch decides, let me make a documentary about it. So the camera's following her before she even meets her family member.
Her cameraman, Chris, played by Roland Buck III. Emily Bader is the lead. Margot. And then the relative she meets, Samuel, was Amish. He left the community a year prior.
So they all get into a van and drive to Amish country to go presumably meet her family.
And there's another person that is around ostensibly just for comedic relief named Dale, played by Dan Lippert.
Oh, is he the one who says he's had COVID like 5 times?
Yes, and also the one that gets the Amish haircut.
Oh, I forgot about that. So they get to the family's compound and they are not happy to see anyone because the cousin didn't inform them, so we're told. Because he's like, well, they don't have phones. How would I have called them? So they end up staying somewhere. Weird things start happening, but like you mentioned, there's not much paranormal stuff happening. But they notice something like off in the distance at night. So the next day, this group goes to explore and they see that on this like compound, there's a hidden church. Mm-hmm. And in the church, there is like this secret like well that goes down to like an underground tunnel. Okay, so we find out that these people are not Amish. They are Satanists and they're worshiping some demon named Asmodeus. And this demon can occupy like women, and Margot's mom is like possessed by this demon.
Sarah is there and is an emaciated looking white woman in a well.
She reminded me of those moon demons.
From the movie Seventh Moon with Amy Smart.
Did we watch that at the Minneapolis Film Festival? Yes.
Yeah. I think I was getting bored and or very tired with the film, but I thought that they said something about how the women in this family can control this body hopping demon.
But it seems like the mom knew this was going to happen to her, and that's why she abandoned her daughter to keep her safe.
Yes. So
Okay.
the character named Jacob, played by Tim Nowicki, has been kind of grooming Margot for this moment. He set up a fake Facebook account. She discovers like a secret computer and blah blah blah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we discovered that there's this like moon demon downstairs. And of course, the moon demon gets out, starts attacking everyone. But Margot and her camera person
Chris.
escape. But then the demon is now possessing another character, Samuel. So the end of the film is Samuel like hopping in a car to presumably chase the other two. The end.
To the dulcet tunes of Loretta Lynn.
All this shit is the same.
Okay.
It's all the same camera angles, all the same jump scares, like the same bullshit premise to acknowledge why we're filming all of this in the first place.
This one was shot by Pedro Luque, who has done a couple of the other ones, plus the Don't Breathe films and a couple other films I've really liked. And there are some beautiful aerial shots. I got the sense that
Yes.
they were trying to, and there is even something about Chris, the cameraman, is showing the kids about slow motion on his camera. You can see that there's somebody in the making of this film trying to make something creepy, weird, beautiful within these parameters.
Yeah,
But
I wrote that down, that I think there are two scenes in particular with the camera guy showing like some kids like how his camera works that I thought felt really inspired.
To me, that felt like this is this cinematographer getting his.
But right away we know something's not right because A, it's paranormal activity. Also, we find out very early on that the mom, Margot's mom, she says drove very far away to drop off the daughter. So immediately you're like, well, because there was some shit going down wherever mom lived. Then my next note is watching the Amish family. They're not really Amish, but we're made to think they are. I thought that was scarier than any ghost. Like having to be Amish seems like so scary. I wish the film would have sort of spent more time like with these characters occupying this space.
A couple things. So was filmed over the pandemic, and they reference it because when they get in the car with Dale and wearing a mask and how he's had COVID several times. But I feel like, why didn't we take an opportunity in the script somewhere to talk about how the Amish are dealing with this pandemic? Because to me, that's interesting.
Oh, sure.
But
yeah.
more importantly, for a film crew with a lot of equipment, if living in a community that doesn't use electricity, keep in mind we find out that they have a secret laptop where they're doing things, but the film crew doesn't know that until late in the game. Where are they charging their equipment and their cell phones? Where?
I don't know.
Where?
Then when Margot gets to the community, she's just asking everyone about her mom. And I just thought that was so annoying. I thought that character's writing was not great. I didn't care for this actor. Like,
Margot has no self-preservation kind of instincts or skills. But again, I think what this... So, back when the first Paranormal Activity came out, directed by Oren Peli, there's already an 8th one that's in production, by the way. So it was filmed in 2007, was released in 2009, was that runaway massive hit, if you remember. And then we were changed kind of for a while to these two really boring white girls, these white women characters. And it's like, they were never the interesting component, but this thing made money, so we had to keep capitalizing on that. It wasn't really until the marked ones where I was like, oh, different communities might have different, because I remember not really, I remember being relatively favorable about the marked ones, comparatively. That being said, I don't think the Amish community on itself is weird and creepy. If you think back on Peter Weir's Witness, starring Harrison Ford, there's a really good documentary called The Devil's Playground about how the Amish community itself allows the children to go off and kind of do whatever they want for a week to test if they want to come back to the community.
and to be clear, I don't think being Amish is weird. I think what I'm trying to say is I think that environment could have made for a very creepy setup, but instead we get more sort of comedic components from it.
Yes, I don't mean to sound like Amish people are weird or wrong, but their choices are interesting, and there's a certain built-in isolationism there that,
I just thought this was derivative, and nothing about it is exciting, and there aren't even ghosts in it. Like, there are no spirits. There's just this demon possessing Margot's mom, biological mom.
Yeah, and I think that's, like, how does this fit into this universe exactly? I don't know, except that it's just written by the same person.
And I'm not going to go on and on about the same shit we would go on about with every other movie like this, where it's like, why do they continue to film when they're being chased by this, and why do they do this when they, like, it just feels so contrived. And
that is tedious. Like, not every moment deserves to be on film, and especially when you're worried about your life. There's a scene when Margot and Chris are getting away and she turns and screams in that Jeep or whatever. To me, that had to have been a reference to the final shot of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, with that bloodied girl screaming in the back of that.
But there were a lot of films that end like that, where
this felt very...
the protagonist escapes, and then, like, we get the sense that the evil thing is going to chase them.
Sure, but this felt...
Because even that gay movie Pat Mills, that horror film Pat Mills made, that's the ending of that film too, right?
I don't recall now what that ending. The Lodge.
Yeah.
Was that what that was called?
Yeah, the lady gets into that truck and then drives off.
That's
but
true.
Then we presume that the driver of the truck is part of that community.
I'm forgetting the name of that. The Lodge is that Veronica Franz film. Anyway, yeah, and then, the obligatory comedic relief, who I thought was very taxing. And
I could be done. What would you give this film?
1 out of 5.
I would give it 1.5, and the half is because I think if you're the type of person who goes to a haunted house and gets scared knowing that something's going to jump out at you, you probably will find this moderately entertaining.
Or if you think pigs have nice butts, you might think it's funny.
Bye.